How did your growing up, how did it shape you to enable you meet the challenges that you're faced with when you grow up?
Well, I would answer it two ways. One, there is no way your childhood can prepare you for the challenges ahead or for the triumphs ahead. If we were to go by my background, then I would have no hope in life. Because my background, I lost my father when I was 13, and I was left with a poor, unlettered mother, you know. And after my father died, for example, we couldn't even afford to pay rent, so we had to go and squat with our cousins in Modakeke, the Oyemade. So we moved to Modakeke. And so you can imagine that background. Then later I went to live with my sister, the husband, who was a teacher, and later the principal of my secondary school at St. John's Grammar School in Ilefe. So, and after that, I had to be an errand boy at a bookshop, the CSS bookshops. Maybe you remember CSS bookshops very close to the palace in Ife. After that, I worked as a village teacher. I can't even remember the name of the village. It's one remote village outside Ife where we had to jump on cocoa tractor. That was our mode of transportation to the village. In fact, the day my mom visited the place, she cried so much that, oh, mommy, and all that. You know, she couldn't believe it because I had a mat. There were two teachers. So the senior teacher was sleeping on a bamboo bed, and I would sleep on a mat, dusty. And our cooking pot and everything is in the same room. It's not like now that you have everything en suite, you have kitchen, you have everything was there. And then you had like a bamboo bathroom somewhere at the back. And so the toilet is like a World Bank where everybody deposits their thing. And then in the evening, you walk around the village and the villagers are offering you, they are giving you gifts of, you know, harvest from their farm and all that. So the day my mom came, she said, no. Well, I'm the only child of my mom for my dad. So she was scared that I might die. So she took me away and I went back to Ife. And so getting to Ife now, how do I get a job? So we started, you know, hustling until I got a job at the University of Ife as a library attendant. And what's the job of a library attendant? You're just an errand boy, picking books for students, for scholars who came to use the library. But that was again where my life turned around because I was able to come in contact with the Wole Soyinkas, the Koli Omotosho, the Yemi Ogubis, all the big names, Wande Abimbola, Akinwumi Shola, all of them were in Ife at the time. So I spent 1 year doing that job. Then we were the first set of Jambites in 1978. So I came in as a student, as a Jambite in 1978 and spent 4 years studying Yoruba studies. So if you look at my background, my tallest dream was to be a teacher. Marry a teacher and live happily thereafter. That was my tallest dream. But I didn't know that God had plans for me. So after I left, I went to teach A-level Yoruba at the Oyo State College of Arts and Science, called Oscars at that time. After that, fortunately, I got a job with the then Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Chief Akemo Boriowo, in Akure. And we used to shuttle between Akure and Ijero-Ekiti, you know. And then the Buhari government suddenly came at the end of 1983. And my boss and other politicians were arrested and were all hauled into prison. So my boss was kept in Owo prison. And I used to travel almost on daily basis from Ijero-Ekiti to Owo, from where he would give me an assignment, or go to Lagos, go to Ilorin, go to Ibadan. And I started meeting different personalities. So unknown to me, cumulatively, these things will be useful in the future. You know, so I started gathering experience and gathering mentors and all that. From there, I worked for Oba Okumade Olubushe II, the Oni of Ife. I was managing Motel Royal Limited. I'm sure you remember the beautiful hotel where we all used to go and rock in those days. It was from there I met Unukaba Adnoye Ojo, who used to work for the Guardian newspaper. And then one day he came for the Olojo Festival, and then I wrote an article, and then which was published by the African Guardian. And that was how the idea of writing started. Then Prince Damola Aderemi told me when I couldn't get any job that you have a first degree in Yoruba, now you have a master's degree in literature in English. Why don't you start writing? Then I started writing for the Guardian. I was writing for the Tribune, the Sunday Tribune in Ibadan. So the Guardian was paying me 25 naira per article, and I would wait for 4 articles to make 100 naira. Then I would travel from Ife to Lagos to pick 100 naira and go back to Ife. That was how crazy it was in those days. The Tribune wasn't paying me anything, but I was happy writing. And then boom, one day, Unukaba invited me to Lagos, and I got a job with the Concord newspapers, and everything changed from there.
Then I was going to ask you, why the choice of Yoruba? Out of all the courses you had to do that?
I would say I've always been a rebel. I've always been a rebel. I wanted a course that was uncommon. Ordinarily, English literature was my favorite. But I realized that every year about 200, 300 students were graduating from the so-called funky courses. But only 2 to 4 people were graduating from Yoruba. And I asked why, and people said, oh, Yoruba is tough. And I'm like, how can our everyday language be so tough? And that if care was not taken, this language will go extinct and there will be nobody speaking it again. So I like originality. I like to do things that people say are difficult. Just like when we started Ovation, everybody told me it can't survive. The quality was too high. It was too expensive. The highest magazine then was selling for about 20 naira. We started at 150. And people told me there is no way and that I will not be able to sustain the quality. But now we're 24 years old, and 19 out of those 24, for almost 20 years now, we have been with the same printers in Enfield in England. We have not changed our printers.